Today, we're going to talk a lot about water. Water is an important part, and with Rob has got a nice presentation for you. Teach you a little bit more about about water filtration, because he's been involved in working with our water manufacturers and partners. Rob was a vice president in our company, but I met him at a DSA meeting. He was involved in the operations of and the president of Kirby International, Fitzger Company. He served on the board of directors of Direct Sales. I met him at a bar at DSA, and he was a cool guy. So all the cool guys hang out. We all hang out if we're direct sellers and not multi-level guys. So all the direct sellers there, and we'd hang out. And I got to know Rob. And then he said, I'm about ready to he sent the letter. I'm looking, if you know anyone that's looking for somebody in this field. I am leaving Kirby, and I'm looking for a new position. Rob picked up the phone. I said, why are you leaving? He said, this company is so screwed up. What they're doing to their distributors, they're forgetting that the distributor is really the future of the business. They think that they are the future of the business. And what they do to the distributors, I cannot tolerate anymore. I'm leaving. I said, get yourself on a plane. One day later, he was in my office. The next day, he was part of our team. We're proud to have him on our team. Let's bring up Rob Shumay, Vice President of Carico.
Rick gave some of the best advice I have ever heard today. And in case you missed it, it was this. If you have confidence in the product, you're going to be more successful. And confidence in the product comes from knowledge in the product. And when Rick asked me to talk about water, I knew exactly what I wanted to talk about. And what I want to do is, a lot of you have called me and you've been in the home and you say, look, I have a demo and Mr. Jones insists that alkaline water is the greatest thing in the world, and what do I tell him? And I hear panic, I hear concern in that voice. And by the time we're done and I go through, here's what you need to say, here's why our solution is better, I hear, got it, no problem. And so exactly what Mr. Capadonna said, it was the knowledge. You went from uncertain and unsure to confident. I got it. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a lot of information here. You don't need to worry about writing it down. You don't need to take pictures. I have hard copies for the first 75 people that come over to the water booth. After that, we can email it to you. You'll have all the tests I talk about, all the articles and everything. So just all I need you to do is listen a little bit. Now, if you hear these sales numbers that we've done, you might think that there's no more opportunity. Everyone that has our product already has it. But let me tell you how wrong that is. Water, for example, 38% of people buy bottled water exclusively. Another 34% try to buy bottled water or they split it evenly. That 72% of the people already know that the water is bad. You're done. Out of those people, 86% do so, as Rick said earlier, because they know it's unhealthy. Folks, the hard part's done here. What you need to do is go into what the solutions are. And people talk about bottled water is the answer. The first thing I'm going to prep you for quickly is why it's not the answer, okay? First of all, most of it is tap water, okay? Dasani and Aquafina have 24% of the market just by themselves. Dasani is tap water. Now, I love Michigan for those that know me, but Dasani is Detroit water. It's municipal water from the city of Detroit. People don't realize this. It's up to us to educate them on it. Now, Publix is a great grocery store down here. It's like a Whole Foods. Excellent reputation. But I want you to look at this. This is a stat sheet that they have that talks about what they sell, spring water. If I tell you or your customer thinks they're drinking spring water, you're thinking it's some beautiful woods and the water is bubbling up. Look at what's highlighted in yellow. They have the name spring. Look at the water source. It's municipal water from North Carolina. And then look at the next yellow, purity test. They test it once a year. Remarkable what people who are drinking bottled water think they're getting versus what they're actually getting, okay? Now, I want to quickly talk about the cost because we know there's a cost savings in having our product. Now, what I did, and you can do this at your local place, is I simply took the price of tap water here in Fort Lauderdale, and we even had a price increase, but all you need to do is look at the bottom in that first box. It's a half a penny a gallon. So I can buy 1,000 gallons for $5.45. Then what I did is I went over and I looked for the cheapest. I found the absolute cheapest price for Aquafina water by the 20-ounce bottle, or if someone was smart, by the case, okay? If I buy Aquafina by the 20-ounce bottle, I'm paying $10.02 a gallon. Even if I buy it 32 at a time, I'm paying slightly over $1 a gallon. One bottle at a time, I'm paying 1,840 times the cost of tap water. Even if I buy it economically, I'm paying 183. A 10-inch or 15-inch water filter with a family of 2 pays for itself within a year. They'd be foolish not to have our tap water. They get better water, and it's cheaper for them, okay? And again, I know I'm moving fast, but I know we want to get to the horse race. Now, The Guardian, which is a major publication, just did a study. 90% of the most popular bottled water contained microplastic. Now, here's what's alarming. 325 pieces they found in each liter. Okay, remember, these are people who think they're buying something healthier, okay? Now, and it's not just in one country. As you see, it's spread across 19 countries. 22% of that water, in addition to having microplastics all the way at the bottom there, 22% had bacteria levels or other contaminants way above the limit. Now, let's talk about how bottled water is not regulated, okay? Here's the U.S. federal regulations on the upper limits that what bottled water can contain. You see the chloramine and chlorine, right? That's 4 means it's 4 parts per million, okay? That's what bottled water is allowed to contain. Now, the next slide here tells you, the next slide tells us in Fort Lauderdale, the tap water can contain 4 parts per million. So literally, there's no difference between tap water and what the bottled water is allowed to contain. Now, if you come over to the booth, included in the packet is this little poster. You can blow it up. It talks about the environmental nightmares that bottled water contains. The next thing is, you guys have called me a lot with questions, is alkaline water. How many people have had somebody say alkaline water is the solution to everything, okay? Well, alkaline water simply means that they've raised the pH. And pH is simply a scale that tells you whether the water is acidic or it's alkaline. And neutral is right in the middle, 7.5. Alkaline water is typically 8 or 9. Now, the simplest way, I think, to combat someone who says alkaline water is the solution to everything is to pull up the article from the Cleveland Clinic, which simply says that don't waste your money. And the Cleveland Clinic is probably the world's foremost medical institution. Don't buy the hype. This article will be in the package of information for you, so we don't need to worry about it. Now, alkaline water is also reported by the Washington Post. And read the highlighted stuff. No effect, no evidence, no benefits. This is a constant theme when you do research about alkaline water. Alkaline water companies like to say they reference all these scientific tests, but when you look at their websites, when you look at the stuff, it's mostly customer testimonials. They make a number of claims. They have about 7, 8, 9 claims, and I'm not going to go through all of them. It's in the material. But some of these claims include, number one, you can change the pH of your body. First of all, that's completely false. Our blood has a pH, our stomach has a pH, our intestines have a pH. They're all different. The pH of our body, which is what they usually talk about, relates to the blood. And if you raise the pH of your blood or you lower it, you will kill yourself. That's it. I will give you a trick, and it's not a trick, it's the actual truth. For someone who wants to raise, if you're in the house and you want someone to raise their pH, you ready? You want to learn how to do it? I can teach it to you in 1 second. You ready? All right. Now, you have to concentrate, so what I want you to do is take 4 deep breaths. 1, 2, 3. You have all raised the pH of your blood. The way you do that is you have exhaled carbon dioxide. Our body has these systems that regulate that pH. Remember I said it's always in that range? Well, exhaling carbon dioxide raises the pH. And congratulations, your pH has already gone back to what it was before you took those breaths. It's impossible to change it. Now, again, there's a lot of claims here. We're not going to go through all of them. This information's in the packet. But they make a claim that they're able to cluster the water into these new hexagonal shapes or some crazy shape. Our body absorbs water 1 molecule at a time. And it does it through the small intestine, not the stomach, like alkaline water companies claim. So if you believe that they are able to create this cluster, it's actually bad for our health because our body needs to absorb it 1 at a time. So if it's a cluster, it's not going to get absorbed, okay? And again, this stuff is in there. It's for you. Now, this year, we also saw reverse osmosis as a seller, right? How many people have had some people claim that reverse osmosis is an issue? Now, there's a lot of things we can talk about reverse osmosis, but I want to just talk about a couple of these. Look at the last one. It's called replaced or rejected or recovered water. And every reverse osmosis system has a percentage, for example, 20%. And what that means is that you only get 20% of the water that you use. That means that 80% of the water gets flushed down out of the system and wasted, and only 20% ends up filtered. So you're actually wasting 4 gallons to every 1 gallon you use. Now, let's talk about this durability and the maintenance, because a lot of people don't realize this. If you read the manual of a reverse osmosis system, they tell you that you have to sanitize it on a regular basis. And when you sanitize it, there are warnings in there to make sure that your hand is free from any microbial contamination. Why? Because if your hand has any microbe on it and you touch that tank within a week or 2 after you touching it is going to develop a biofilm on it. It's exactly the opposite of what we want in terms of healthy water. The manuals of the reverse osmosis systems tell you if you leave your water for more than 3 days, make sure you drain it and then refill it, okay? It's not water on demand. We also know that the water of reverse osmosis is very bad, and they even warn you that if you have copper pipes with reverse osmosis, it will eat away at that copper pipes, and you will actually contaminate your body with copper from this, okay? Now, we're going to move ahead a little bit here. I'm going to tell you something. We had a little bit of a problem with some of our whole heads this year on our whole house tanks. We apologize. We worked very hard to fix it. The problem is fixed. We are 100% perfect. We also had our whole house media tested by 2 independent laboratories. And here's the result of one of them. This test is going to be in the packet of information. The first line talks about our filter media and how effective it is by itself, over 99%. We took a new tank, over 99%. We even took a tank that had been out there for 2 or 3 years. Again, we're almost at 99%. The thing is working flawless. I'm very happy to report. Jerry was very helpful with us on all that. Now, another is our shower filter, okay? And you're going to have the test result in the package. We are tested as NSF standard. Although we didn't go to NSF, we had an independent lab test it to the standard. For 10,000 gallons, we meet the standard for chlorine removal and reduction for a shower filter. It's going to be impossible to find one that will last that long that's as effective as ours. And you have that test in there. Now, the last thing I'm going to talk about is OTO. The OTO test has gotten discredited. They removed it from the standard of testing for laboratories. Labs won't use it anymore. And the reason is, if you look at the bottom, OTO gives a 30% more false positives because it detects common oxidizing agents, in the water, including oxygen itself. And so what we're going to do, and if you come to the booth, I'm going to give you a sleeve of the new tablets. It's called a DPD tablet. It is 100% accurate. It's what the laboratories use. You simply pop a tablet out, drop it in the water, and it'll turn red in the presence of chlorine, okay? It's going to be an easy test to administer, and it's widely recognized as the best, most accurate test for chlorine. All right, and I look forward. I'll be at the booth. Any questions? You ever have a problem with water or a question, please give me a call. Thank you.